To look at many of our urban centers today is to look at how badly we've neglected the importance of urban planning. In Season 8 of Dayaw, we visit the old urban centers of Luzon to see how our ancestors maintained a sense of order. One that created spaces for communities, their economic and cultural activities, their daily lives. Indeed, the entire fabric of a solid, united community. This is Season 8 of Dayaw. Halina't dumayo, doon po sa amin. In the last episode, we saw how dedicated cultural workers and heritage advocates spoke of their towns with authority, passion, and yes, love. It is a trait that I see very often whenever we speak to people who do not have academic titles or formal studies. The lack of these do not stop them from wanting to learn more about the towns of their birth. When their curiosity is paired with a desire to share their advocacies, the results can be overwhelming. In this episode, we will see the heritage treasures of Taal in Batangas, Sariaya in Quezon, but we will see them as filtered through the eyes of those who love them most and know them most intimately. Teachers, tourist guides, priests, private individuals, all who speak with undeniable love and pride. Taal in Batangas is a heritage town that many of you have visited. The next time you do, you may want to look these guys up. Surely whatever you have already seen will become suddenly new again.
Here in Taal, well, I think density-wise, no, we have the biggest number of centuries-old bahay na batos in Taal, here in the town of Taal. Okay, as you can see, there are still a lot of bahay na batos that are still standing or still there right now. Mainly because we were never bombed by the Japanese during the occupation period. We were never bombed by the Americans.
So we are now in one of the famous houses in Taal. This is called the Gregorio Agoncillo White Mansion House. This house had been very important during the 18th century. The one who lives here was a famous Gregorio Agoncillo. He was a member of the group of General Emilio Aguinaldo who fought against the Spaniards. This is the dining room. So during the old times, this is where the servants would go up carrying the food to be served to the dining room, since their kitchen was located below. And present here is this big clock. This is called the grandfather's clock. They say only rich people could buy this expensive clock. These are collection of canes who live in this house. This is called bastonero. Other items placed here were, of course, hats and umbrellas. So this is the room of the two daughters of Gregorio. We have here this very rare piece of aparador. This is called Tres Lunas, or 3 moons. And then it features 3 glass mirror. So the story here is, if the mother and the 2 daughters will simultaneously comb their hair, they won't quarrel because, you see, they each have their own mirror. And then this is actually the master's bedroom of the husband and wife. So, Gregorio had been a government figure during that time, and he had been going to different countries, and we have here his traveling bag. This is a preserved old traveling bag.
Art's fervor grows more impassioned when we move to the house of Marcela Agoncillo.
Ito po ang bahay ng babae na nagtahi ng ating unang watawat. Tinayo po ito noong mga 18th century po. Ito po ang kanyang may bahay, si Felipe Agoncillo, at ito po ang kanyang mga anak. Ang original pong anak ay 6, kaya lang po ay namatay ang isa. At lahat po sila ay puro babae. Pero wala pong nag-asawa sa mga anak nila. Kaya naputol na po ang kanilang lahi.
Here he tells us a story of our flag.
So, nandito po tayo sa harap ng mismong paggawa ng bandera ng 3 kababaihang ito. Ito po si Marcela, nasa gawing kaliwa ay ang kanyang 7 taon gulang na anak na si Lorenza. At ang isa naman po ay si Delfina Herbosa Natividad. Siya po ay pamangkin ni Dr. Jose Rizal. So sinasabi nila, ito daw po ang ating unang watawat or first flag. Ito po ay 1897. So, ito po ay may hango sa liwanag ng kalayaan, simbolo ng katipunan. Ito naman po ang watawat na itinahi ni Marcela Agoncillo. So, nung panahon naman po ng Amerikano, ay ipinagbawal po nila na maglabas ng mga watawat ng Pilipinas mula 1907 hanggang 1919. At pagkatapos po ng taong yan, nung pwede na pong ilabas ang mga bandera ng Pilipinas, ay pinalitan na naman po ang disenyo at mula po dito ay naging ganito na po ang kanyang itsura. Tapos po, ang sumunod po yung pong ating tinatawag na standard flag, 1936. So, sa kasalukuyan po, ay eto na po ang ating bandera.
More than just a recitation of quick facts, we certainly felt Art's own recurring wonder at having to live with the history of our nation's most important symbol. Some serious talk on the very real problems that modern Taaleños face. Not just about preserving heritage, but adapting to the changing environment and the very real threat of natural calamities and the equally pressing problem of pollution.
There was a big earthquake eruption in 1754, and it practically wiped out the whole town of Taal, which is now in San Nicolas. So without that environmental catastrophe, as you might call, the town of Taal, as it stands here today, would not have existed. They moved the town, whereas previously it was located in the banks of the Taal Lake, near Taal volcano. They had to move it to a higher ground. So this is now the new Taal. The environment has shaped the town of Taal because it has provided the town of Taal the place to be in. It is continuously shaping the town of Taal because everything that we do here right now is dictated by the topography of the land.
Taal volcano's imminent eruption marked the start of 2020. In anticipation of the explosion, many treasures of the great ancestral homes of the old town had been packed and kept for safekeeping. But the bigger quandary lies in the preservation of the homes.
Maintaining an old house is not a joke. Okay? In terms of construction, to restore a house rather than to build a new structure, okay, it would cost you 300% more. If you were going to spend 1 million to build a structure, it's going to cost you 3 million to restore a house. Okay, but that's just the start of it. The maintenance is always a constant problem. Your passion to make sure that these houses still remain standing 100 years from now, 100 years more than after my son's generation. Why do we open up our houses to the tourists? So that the tourists have an appreciation of how our forebears or our ninunos used to live in, the conditions that they used to live at. Somewhere, somehow, it is the zest to open up the eyes of the Filipinos, especially the millennials, to our history that keeps us going here in the town of Taal, to promote our tourism, to promote our food, to promote the national, the revolutionaries who all emanated from Taal, or the revolutionaries who emanated from Taal, the culture of Taal.
The present-day town of Taal is already the product of past relocations. Such relocations remind us of the great risk that our heritage sites face, but they also remind us of the resilience of the Filipino and our ability to build and rebuild as nature alters the landscape. In Sariaya in Quezon, the language and the sentiments are of a different flavor altogether. Folksier, more colorful and mellifluous, but just as impassioned and dedicated to the cause of heritage preservation.
According po sa archives, nagsimula po yung written ng mga Kastila, parang 1582 dumating dito ang mga Agustino. Tapos, ayun, pagdating nila, nakakita sila ng parang 7,600 something na mga tao. Kaya lang, after 1 year, ay parang umalis sila kasi napansin nila yata na hindi nila sakop ito. So umalis sila, iniwan nila sa mga Pransiskano. So 1599, ayun, nanggawa daw po sila ng simbahan made of light materials. Kaya lang, siyempre mahuna siya, madaling nasira. So 1605 parang gumawa uli sila ng panibagong istruktura. Kaya lang yung time na yon medyo magulo kasi ang mga lugar dito sa lugar na ito ng Tayabas, dito sa Tayabas Bay area, ang mga tinayo ng mga Kastila ay nilulusob at sinusunog ng mga pirata. Ayan. So ayun, kumbaga, ang naging consideration kaya kami lumayo sa dagat ay kasi para makaalis kami dun sa ganong sitwasyon na palagi magtatayo ka ng istruktura. Until, ayun, nung 1703, dumating sila dun sa lugar ng Tumbaga. Itong lugar na ito na, ano na siya, dun na sila naglagay ng talagang istrukturang sinasabing talagang, simbahan na talaga. Pero nung 18 something yata, ay parang, hindi ko alam mo yung exact year, parang para bagang naging law na siya na tuwing magtatayo kayo ng bayan, dapat ganito ang forma. Simbahan, tapos ay kalapit ang parke, kung may parke, kalapit ang munisipyo o ang tapos, ang nakapaligid yung mga prinsipalya, yung mga pangunahing pamilya na mayayaman. So, ganun na nangyari sa Sariaya.
Danny De Luna, president of the Sariaya Heritage Council, enumerates the key heritage sites.
Meron po tayong tatlo. So ang una po, doon sa tatlo, ay ang tinatawag namin na Don Catalino Enriquez Ancestral House. Ito po ay matatagpuan sa katabi ng simbahan ng Sariaya at ito po ay ginawa dinesign ni Andres Luna de San Pedro, ang kilalang anak ni Juan Luna, ang dakilang pintor po. Ang ikalwa naman po ay itong ating kinaroroonan ngayon. Ito po ang Don Catalino Rodriguez Ancestral House. At ang ikatlo po ay tinatawag natin na Gala Rodriguez Ancestral House.
The Gala Rodriguez House is one of 3 heritage structures in Sariaya. Linked to the structure are many prominent names from the Revolutionary period.
Ito pong bahay na ito ay circa 1935. Kasi po, ang nangyari dito, may bahay pong sinauna yung may-ari, si Dr. Isidro Rodriguez, yung asawa ni si Doña Gregoria Gala. May luma silang bahay, kaya lang, nagkaroon ng malaking sunog sa Sariaya noong August 21, 1930, na wipe out yung kanilang property. So, they dream of having a dream house. So, ito po yun. It took 5 years to build. Ito po ang bubungad sa inyo. Ito pong piano na ito, ay pag tiningnan natin, ay circa 1880. So this must be one of the remnants nung nasunog na bahay nung una. Ito po yung kalooban ng bahay sa first floor. Kita naman po ninyo ang mga muebles. Ayun po, ang lalaki ng chandelier. Maliit pa po yan. Mas malaki pa po yung chandelier sa second floor. Meron pa po ritong grandfather clock. Ito po ay na-preserve. Siya po ay hanggang ngayon ay tumutunog every 15 minutes. So they have 3 bedrooms here and they have 2 bedrooms upstairs. Nandun po yung master's bedroom sa taas. So, ito po yung mas grandioso pang living room nila. So, yun nga po, ito po yung living room para sa mga VIP or yung mga, baka may naging bisita rin dito na nung panahon ng mga Commonwealth period ng mga Amerikano. Ayan. nung matapos na yung liberation, liberated na ang Sariaya, ito rin pong bahay na ito daw po ang naging site ng First Victory Ball.
The need for concerned individuals to join in the efforts of conservation is one that Sariaya's heritage advocates acknowledge and, yes, look forward to.
Sa kasalukuyan po ay talagang nanaisin natin na mga natitirang pamanang bayan na nasisira at kinakain na ng panahon ay makikita po natin na much more to be desired. Ano po? Pero nandun din naman po yung aming pangunawa sa ating pamahalaan na ang mga mamamayan ay may mas higit na pangangailangan sa kanilang kalusugan, sa kanilang kabuhayan, at sa kanilang mga pamilya. Sa ngayon po ay marami naman pong nag-aalok ng mga tulong. Hindi nga lang po namin diretsahang masabi na katulad po ng pagre-restore, hindi po kami makapangako na ang mga bahay na important cultural property sa Sariaya ay tuluyan pong mare-restore. Hinihimok lang po namin ang mga may-ari at ang mga tao na gustong tumulong at kami nagbabakasakali na sa aming pagbibigay ng informasyon at diseminasyon ng mga bagay-bagay sa mga pamanang lahi na ito ay nandun ang kanilang gininto ang puso na kami ay tulungan sa aming advokasya. Itong mga uri ng mga bahay, kung ano man yan, mga monumento, mga buildings, simbahan, patio, at iba pa na naiiwan ng nakaraang panahon, sila po yung sumasalamin, sila po yung simbolo sa gisag sa mayamang kultura ng nakaraang panahon. Kung alam ng mga tao kung gaano kahalaga ang kanilang pamanang bayan, ay magkakameron po siya ng sigasig na ito ay pangalagaan, protektuhan, at nang hindi basta masira o basta gibain ng ganon-ganon na lamang. At naniniwala po kami na habang maaga pa, ang mga estudyante ay mabigyan ng kaalaman ukol sa mga important cultural property para sila naman po ang hahalili sa susunod na henerasyon at sila po ang masigasig ding magpoprotekta dito sa aming pamanang bayan ng Sariaya.
Eloquent and practical sentiments indeed from a heritage advocate who sees the issues from all sides. When I hear the actual sentiments and views of such impassioned Filipinos, I know that the struggle is real, the problems seemingly insurmountable, the job possibly even thankless. But I believe that their efforts, their voices, their vision are the one source of genuine hope. If ever Sariaya and Taal should march bravely into the future with roots to the past intact, it shall be because Filipinos like Danny and Nathan and Heriberto took the effort, continued the struggle, they persisted. Personally, I want to say thank you to each and every one of these heritage advocates for being brave enough to become bearers of Dayaw, our knowledge, our pride.